Hello, everyone. Now let's listen to the story. You live in an old house in Portland, another generation, on a street that has seen so many pass through. The 4 o'clock afternoon sun slants through the leaves, casting golden patterns on the worn wooden floors. You take a deep breath, smelling the scent of wood, of dust, and of time. Sometimes you wonder if you're learning a new lesson or just an old one that others have learned and relearned in different ways many times before. The sound of children's laughter floats up from the backyard, clear and pure, pulling you from your thoughts. Life sometimes follows winding, crooked paths. You wonder what would happen if you were suddenly uprooted from this ordinary life. Would you have the strength to find your way back to everything you've been given? The sweetness of a plum picked from the tree, the endless details of daily life, the knowing gaze of the person you love, the innocence in a child's voice, and the deep yearning for those simple things. That is your entire world. In the kitchen, your two young daughters, Olivia and Lily, are singing a song about the Erie Canal. Their sweet voices blend together, creating a happy soundtrack for the fading afternoon. Ben. Your husband walks in still wearing the lucky flannel shirt he loves. Come on, sing it again. He laughs, wrapping his arms around you from behind. I've got a mule, and her name is Sal. You begin. And her name is Sal. The whole family chimes in. It is a perfect moment. One of countless you have collected, stored away like a treasure. You don't know that soon these small memories will become the only life raft you have to cling to. The evening passes with a familiar warmth. You put the children to bed. Olivia, your 10-year-old, is at that awkward age starting to demand her privacy. You knock on her door. Olivia, time for bed. Mom, I need my privacy, God! Her voice calls out from behind the locked door. You smile, shaking your head. Olivia needs her privacy. She's 10. What does she need privacy for? After helping Lily brush her teeth, you talk with Olivia about buying her first bra. She is shy, but also full of anticipation. Could you go to Habersham's tomorrow and bring one home for me to try? She whispers. And don't let Lily see me try it on. She's too little. You hug her, feeling the subtle change in your daughter's body. She is growing up, and you feel both joy and a little bit of sorrow. Later that night, lying in Ben's arms, you feel a sense of absolute peace. Are we going to make love? You ask, your voice teasing. I don't know about you. He answers, his voice a low rumble beside your ear. But I sure am. And in the darkness of the bedroom, you reaffirm your love for one another, never knowing it would be the last time for a very, very long time. Dawn arrives with a damp drizzle. Ben, it's 7:30. If you're going to run, you better go, you call out from the kitchen. He comes down the stairs wincing. Damn it, I got a splinter in my hand from the shovel when I was digging that trench yesterday. You examine the wound on his hand. I'm sorry, you know what? It's so damp outside. I don't think I'm going to run today. Wimp, you tease. What I have to prove my manhood to my wife. Oh no, you already did that last night, you giggle. Breakfast is a happy chaos. Kate, your neighbor and best friend, stops by to take the kids to school with her own. The house is filled with chatter, hurried reminders, and good mornings. You give Ben a quick kiss, before he decides to go for a short run after all. "I'm off," he says. "And God, you were hot last night." "Go!" You urge, your cheeks flushing. Those are the last words you hear from him while he is conscious. You and Kate are in the kitchen chatting about little things. Rick seems a little... You hesitate. "Is he okay to take the kids?" "Oh, of course." "Why wouldn't he be?" Kate replies, but you sense something off in her voice. Later, you go shopping. You pick up a tiny pair of purple underwear. "God, these are a little short, aren't they?" "Short is what you want in a pair of panties." Kate winks. The conversation is carefree light. You have no idea that at the same moment, somewhere on a wet trail in the park, a tragedy is unfolding. A slipped foot, a fall, a sickening crack, as Ben's head hits a rock. And then silence. You are at home when the phone rings, shattering the quiet. You pick it up, still smiling from Kate's joke. "Mrs. Adler," a strange woman's voice says, "your husband has suffered a severe traumatic brain injury from a fall. He's in a coma, Mrs. Adler." Your world shatters. Every sound fades, replaced by a dull ringing in your ears. You don't remember how you drove to the hospital. Everything is like a slow-motion film, blurry and terrifying. You rush through sterile white hallways, the smell of disinfectant burning your nose until you see him. Ben lies there motionless on a hospital bed, his head wrapped in white bandages, his face swollen and pale. Countless wires and tubes connect his body to machines that beep with a monotonous rhythm. "When will he wake up?" You ask the doctors, your voice trembling. "We can't say for sure," they reply. "It's too early to tell." Their words are cold and clinical: decompressive craniectomy, cerebral edema, coma. You hear them, but can't fully comprehend. You only know that your strong, vibrant husband is now lying there, silent and distant. You take his hand, the hand that used to hold you, that fixed everything in the house, now cold and limp. You lay your head on the bed, tears streaming down your face. 3 weeks pass in a long nightmare. You spend most of your time at the hospital talking to Ben, reading to him, hoping for some kind of miracle. But nothing changes. No movement, no sound, no sign that he is coming back to you. Then one day, the doctors call you into an office. "Mrs. Adler," the head of neurology says, his tone gentle but firm. "It has been 3 weeks with no signs of improvement. Statistically, there is an 80% chance your husband will never wake up." "No," you blurt out. "There was a woman in Texas who woke up after 16 years. They talk about the worst-case scenarios: language impairment, memory loss, severe disability. They talk about the cost of treatment, about your insurance no longer covering his stay, and about needing the bed for patients who are salvageable." A rage erupts inside you. You call yourselves healers. You're hypocrites. "My husband is not a statistic. He is my husband." You scream, tears flooding your eyes, but all you receive are pitying looks and cold silence. In the end, you have no choice. You have to move Ben to a long-term care facility. Its name is Larkspur. As the ambulance takes him away, you see Christmas carolers on the street, and the cruel contrast breaks your heart. Larkspur is not a place for healing. It is a place to wait for death. The stench of disinfectant urine and despair hangs in the air. The sound of hacking coughs, of unanswered ringing phones, of the screams of a patient named Clarence. You stand there, lost and horrified. "Don't worry, Ben," you whisper as they wheel him into a small, gloomy room. "You'll have a private room soon." A head nurse named Susan meets you. She seems tired and hardened. When you mention Ben's feeding tube, she just waves it off. "We've done this before, Mrs. Adler." You feel helpless. They take Ben away, and you are left alone in the chaotic hallway. Kate calls. Her voice is your only connection to the real world. "How is it?" Kate asks. "My husband is in a coma, and my 5-year-old is wetting the bed." You say, trying to find some dark humor in your tragedy. "More importantly, can you pick up some milk? I can't make mac and cheese without it." When you are finally allowed into Ben's room, you find him curled up on the strange bed. You try to straighten his body. "Is that more comfortable?" you ask, knowing there will be no answer. You try to open the window for some fresh air, but it's been painted shut. A nurse's aide named Brenda walks in. She is rough and abrupt. The window doesn't open. "It's painted shut," she says. When you ask her to get a water pitcher, she responds sarcastically. "You want me to fill the water pitcher or fix his catheter?" You feel like you are sinking. Just then, a man approaches you. "Looks like you're looking for the water fountain," he says. "It's down by the kitchen." His name is Brian Powell. His wife, Laura, is also in a coma after a brain aneurysm. She has been here for 9 months. 9 months. The number stuns you. You have only been through 3 weeks. There are 3 coma patients here, Brian explains. Your husband, my wife, and Mrs. McConaughey, who had a stroke at 97. Small world, huh? You don't see it as small. You see it as cruel and absurd. You look at Laura lying in her bed, then over at Ben. They are in identical rooms, facing the same uncertain fate. A cold fear creeps into your heart. You don't want them to be in the same boat. You can't stand the thought that your tragedy is just a normal thing that happens to other people. That evening before leaving, you pull the curtains shut. "I'll close the curtains when I go," you tell Brenda, "so the light will seem brighter to him in the morning when you open them." "Do whatever you want," Brenda mumbles. On the way home, loneliness and despair wash over you. You will not let Ben go. You will not let him leave you. But how? The following days blur into a weary, repetitive cycle. You wake up, take care of the kids, go to Larkspur, sit by Ben's side for hours, then return home to face mounting bills and your children's sorrow. You have to take out a second mortgage on the house. You realize you have to find a job. Guilt weighs heavily on you. "I was the one who told him to go running," you sob to Kate. "We should have made love that morning." "Hannah," Kate interrupts, trying to pull you out of the spiral of self-blame. "We are going out." She takes you to a bar. You feel out of place and uncomfortable. A man comes over to talk, and when he asks why you are there, you tell him the truth. "My husband is in a coma. The grief is driving me insane, and I need a release." The man backs away, stunned. You and Kate burst out laughing, a bitter but necessary laugh. It is the first time you have laughed in weeks. At Larkspur, you and Brian slowly become friends. You share coffee stories of your past lives and a knowing silence. He tells you about his own guilt, how he thinks he made Laura's condition worse by letting her walk to the bathroom on her own. You realize everyone carries their own private burden. Brenda, the gruff nursing assistant, begins to soften. She brings in a geranium from her home for Laura. My lucky geranium, she explains. Been in my family for years. Brings good luck to whoever has it. It is a small change, but it gives you a sliver of hope. At home, however, things are falling apart. Your daughters are suffering in their own ways. Lily is constantly wetting the bed. Olivia has become irritable and distant. The kids need to see Ben again, Kate advises. I don't want them to see him like this, you protest. He'll scare them. He's already scaring them, Kate says. Finally, when Olivia screams in desperation, we don't have a mother or a father. You know you have been wrong. That night, she tells Lily that their father is dead. Is Daddy dead, Mommy? Lily asks, her eyes welling with tears. Your heart feels like it's being squeezed. No, sweetie, Daddy is not dead. The next day, you take the two children to Larkspur. You prepare them, telling them that Daddy is still very sick. Olivia and Lily enter the room timidly. They look at Ben lying motionless on the bed. Can Daddy hear me? Olivia asks. I hope so, you reply. Lily gives you a family picture she drew. Olivia shyly touches Ben's hand. His hand is so cold, she says. You leave the children alone with their father for a few minutes. When you step into the hallway, you see Ted. He's fiddling with his car. My car is making a funny noise, you say. Let me take a look, he offers. You go for a drive. He confesses he knows nothing about cars. You both laugh. It's a real free laugh. For a moment, you forget everything. The car stops. Silence fills the space. He looks at you, and you look back. Then, without warning, he leans in and kisses you. It is a kiss of desperation, of loneliness, of the need to connect with another person, someone who understands your pain. It feels both wrong and strangely right. You kiss him back then, abruptly push him away. Oh, no. My God, no. You gasp. You bolt from the car, guilt and confusion overwhelming you. I kissed Ted. You confess to Kate while she is dyeing your hair. Oh, good, Kate replies casually. Good, Kate. I feel so guilty. Why did you kiss him? Obviously, you needed a kiss, Kate says. Ben is lying there like a rock. Your kids are with him for the first time, and you're kissing a man you barely know and feeling something. You know Kate is right. The kiss, however guilty, awoke a part of you that had been dormant for a long time. It made you realize you were still alive, still had needs and feelings. You returned to Larkspur with a new resolve. You don't just sit there anymore. You start dressing Ben in his own clothes, his sneakers. You perform passive range of motion exercises on him, massaging his limbs. This is good for the edema, you explain to Brenda, who watches you with a curious expression. It tells his fingers don't forget. It tells his legs remember to use what you have. Brenda nods, seemingly convinced. Your daughters begin to adapt too. They make friends with Clarence, the shouting man in the wheelchair. They sing to him, and he teases them back. Larkspur, once a hell, is now becoming a part of your family's life, a place of both sorrow and unexpected moments of joy. One afternoon, you run into Brian at the ice cream parlor. He looks tired and sad. "I don't visit as much anymore," he says. "The truth is, I can't. Day after day, waiting for her to wake up, and she doesn't. I don't think she wants to wake up anymore." Then he confesses, "I've been seeing someone else." You don't know what to say. You can't judge him. You understand. You continue your fight. You bring a picture of a healthy Ben to put in his room, a reminder of the man he was. You play home videos, letting the sound of his laughter fill the room. Meanwhile, Kate's life is also turned upside down. She discovers her husband Rick is having an affair. Her rage is terrifying, but also powerful. "I'm done with grief," she says. "I want rage." You break into the other woman's house together. It is a crazy act, but it helps Kate find release. When she confronts Rick, she is able to speak her truth with finality. Watching your friend's marriage crumble makes you realize how fragile life is. Everything you once thought was solid could fall apart in an instant. 5 months pass. The doctors call you in again. "It's been 5 months, Mrs. Adler. There have been some seizure activities, which is not a good sign. We need to know if you want us to perform heroic measures." You don't hesitate. "Yes, if Ben has trouble breathing, bring the ventilator, bring the defibrillator, bring the cast of ER if you can get them. Post an ambulance right outside his door, and I'll hire a brass band." Your determination silences them. You will not give up, but your persistence is being tested to its limits. One day, while reading poetry to Ben, you think you hear him say your name. "Hannah," your heart stops. You wait, holding your breath. But nothing happens. Hours pass in silence. The surge of hope vanishes, leaving an emptiness worse than before. You break down. "I hate you, Ben. I hate you. How could you do this to me?" You scream in the empty room, tears of anger and exhaustion pouring out. "I can't take it anymore." That night, you learn that Laura Powell has died of pneumonia. You see Brian in the hallway. He looks 10 years older. "So, it's over," he says, his voice hoarse. "It's stranger than you think. I mean, it's not like you're going to—" "I hope you don't have to go through this." He tells you he is selling his house and leaving. Before he goes, he says something you will never forget. "I hope Ben makes it. If he doesn't, it's not because you didn't move mountains. I'd want you in my foxhole any day." Laura's death and Brian's departure are a wake-up call. You look at Ben, and for the first time, you truly confront the possibility that he may never come back. That night, you decide to stay at Larkspur. You sit by Ben's bed in the dim light of a bunny-shaped nightlight Lily asked you to bring for her dad. You talk to him not with frantic hope, but with a painful acceptance. "You know, when I was a teenage waitress," you begin your voice a whisper, "this old man used to come in with his wife. He told me they'd been married for 53 years. And then he'd look at her with such genuine affection that I would have to go into the stock room where they kept the potatoes and onions, and I would cry. I cried because I saw that it was possible, that enduring strength, and I was afraid I would never find a love like that. But I did. Tears roll down your cheeks. You rest your head on his chest, feeling the faint warmth of his body. Ben, you sob, come back to me. Please come back to me. You fall asleep like that, tired and emotionally spent. The next morning, Kate arrives and finds you asleep in the chair. Did anything happen? She asks. No, you reply, your voice weary. Nothing. You feel a profound emptiness. Kate, what have I been doing all this time? Living on faith, Kate says. You laugh bitterly. Living on faith. Just then, the phone rings. It's Larkspur. Your heart clenches, bracing for the worst news. But the voice on the other end is trembling for a different reason. Mrs. Adler, it's your husband. He's awake. You can't believe what you are hearing. Everything around you seems to stop, then explodes into an indescribable joy. You rush out of the house, no makeup, no change of clothes. Kate hands you Brenda's lucky geranium. Take this. You drive like a madwoman, your heart pounding in your chest. When you run into the halls of Larkspur, everyone is standing there smiling and clapping. Brenda Clarence, the nurses and aides, they are waiting for you. You step into the room, and you see him. Ben is sitting up in bed, his eyes wide open. He is thin and pale, but he is there. He is looking at you. Hello, Ben, you say, your voice shaking. It's me. Hannah, he says. Your name, his voice. It's me. You repeat, tears of happiness streaming down your face. You fall into his arms. All the pain, the waiting, the despair of the past months melts away in that single moment. He was back. Stepping across the threshold of your home, you feel an invisible shift. The house is the same with its familiar scent of oak, old books, and family meals. But the air seems thicker now, heavy with the weight of the months that have passed. This isn't just a return. It's a rebirth, a new beginning, on ground you thought had turned barren. Ben leans on your arm, each of his steps slow and deliberate. The wheelchair is pushed into a corner like a relic from a war you aren't sure is truly over. Your daughters, Olivia and Lily, stand huddled together, their eyes shining with joy, but also holding a strange reservation. They are happy their father is home, but this father isn't quite the same as the one in their memories. The old dad could lift them into the air. This one needs support just to stand. Look, Daddy, Lily whispers, pointing to the pencil marks on the kitchen door frame where you've been tracking her height. I grew an inch. Go into a coma, Ben says, his voice a bit hoarse and weak. And you're bound to miss a few things. The family laughs, a slightly forced sound, like trying out a new melody after a long silence. You understand the first lesson of this new life. Joy isn't always a shout. Sometimes it is a whisper, and you have to learn to listen for it in the quiet. That first night, the distance becomes clearer than ever. You lie in your familiar bed, but it feels completely foreign. For months, you had gotten used to sleeping alone or dozing in a stiff chair at Larkspur, every sense on high alert. Now, there is another body beside you, his breathing uneven, an occasional soft moan in his sleep. It is Ben, but it is also not Ben. You don't dare touch him, afraid your touch might shatter the fragility of the moment. You realize that physical proximity cannot erase the distance in your souls. To rebuild the bridge between your two worlds would require more than a shared bed. It requires time, patience, and the courage to face the ghosts. The following days are a series of harsh lessons in patience. Ben's recovery is not a straight upward line. It is a sine wave with peaks of hope and valleys of despair. Every morning, you help him with his physical therapy exercises. You watch the beads of sweat on his forehead as he tries to flex a finger or lift a leg off the floor. "You don't understand," he growls one afternoon after dropping a glass for the third time. "The feeling when your brain gives a command, but your body refuses to obey. I'm a prisoner in my own skin. His anger is like a fire, and you are standing too close, feeling its heat. You want to scream back, to tell him he isn't the only one suffering. You want to tell him how you fought, how exhausted you are. But you don't. You take a deep breath, get a rag, and quietly wipe up the puddle on the floor. In that moment, you learn that true love is not about demanding fairness in suffering, but about the ability to hold an umbrella for someone else while you are also standing in the rain. Some days, pieces of memory return to Ben, but they are fragmented and jumbled. He remembers a beach vacation from 5 years ago, but forgets Olivia's 10th birthday. He asks you about the months he was in the coma. What was it like for you? He asks, his eyes searching for an answer you don't know how to articulate. How could you tell him about the smell of larkspur, about Clarence's screams, about the blank faces of the doctors? How could you explain the guilt of kissing Ted, the soul-crushing loneliness when you thought you had lost him forever? You can't. That is a part of the journey you have to carry alone. "I was okay," you say, taking his hand. "I had the girls, and I always had hope." It is a lie, but it is also a truth. You realize that we all have chapters in our lives that others can never read. The deepest empathy isn't about trying to understand everything, but about accepting that some things are unknowable and simply being there for each other. The change isn't just in Ben. It comes from you and the children. Olivia, your strong-willed daughter, is now quick to anger and argumentative. She talks back to her father over small things, challenging his authority. "You don't know anything. You weren't here," she yells during dinner one night, before running to her room and slamming the door. Ben is stunned, the hurt clear on his face. She was never like this." "You missed a lot," you explain gently. "She had to grow up too fast. Her anger isn't at you. It's her way of dealing with her fear. The fear that her dad could disappear again." That night, you sit by Olivia's bed saying nothing, just being there until she sobs in your arms. You understand that the scars on the soul are often harder to heal than physical wounds. They need to be touched with gentleness, listened to with the heart, and given time to fade. Lily is the opposite. She becomes too well-behaved, too clingy. She follows you everywhere, constantly asking, "Is Daddy okay?" every few minutes. Her anxiety is like a heavy blanket, and you have to help her shrug it off little by little by creating a sense of safety and stability. Amidst the difficulties, rays of light begin to appear. One morning, as you are making coffee, Ben walks into the kitchen without his cane. He moves slowly but steadily. He wraps his arms around you from behind, just like he used to. The smell of coffee, he whispers in your ear. I missed this smell. In that moment, the invisible wall between you seems to dissolve. You turn, look deep into his eyes, and for the first time in months, you truly see Ben, your husband, not a patient. That night, you make love. It is not like the passionate encounters of before. It is slow, tender, and a little awkward. It is a rediscovery, an affirmation that even if the body changes, even if memories fade, the profound connection between two souls remains. You learn that intimacy is not just passion. It is also a safe harbor, a silent promise of, I am here, I am not going anywhere. Life gradually finds its rhythm again. A new rhythm, a bit slower and more meaningful. As a family, you replant the geranium Brenda gave you. As you place the small plant in the soil, you feel you are also planting a new seed of life for your own family. You no longer rush. You take the time to truly listen to your children's stories after school. You and Ben sit on the back porch in the evenings, saying nothing, just watching the sunset together. You realize one of the most important messages: tragedy doesn't come to destroy us. It comes to teach us how to live. It takes away the things we take for granted, so that when they are returned, we cherish them in an extraordinary way. You no longer ask yourself, what if? You no longer torment yourself for telling Ben to go for a run on that fateful morning. You have forgiven yourself. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, but accepting the past and not letting it poison the present. One Sunday morning, the whole family makes breakfast together. Ben, now able to stand at the stove on his own, is flipping pancakes. Olivia and Lily are arguing over who gets to pour the syrup first. Laughter fills the kitchen. You stand there, holding a warm cup of tea, and a deep sense of peace washes over you. This is not the flawless, perfect life you once had. It is a mosaic pieced together from broken fragments. Some pieces can never be found, and the cracks are still there, faintly visible. But it is through those cracks that the light gets in. Your new life has more depth, more empathy, and a gratitude you never knew before. You have realized that you don't have to be an invincible warrior. True strength lies in vulnerability, in daring to admit you are weak, daring to cry when you're in pain, and daring to lean on others. You and Ben have learned to be each other's support in a completely new way. While cleaning out the closet, you find Ben's lucky flannel shirt. It is still there, a little worn, but still warm. You hand it to him. He smiles a familiar smile that lights up his whole face. He puts it on, and for a fleeting moment, he is the Ben of old. But you know you are both different now. You have been given a gift wrapped in pain and loss. That gift is a profound understanding of the meaning of the words family and life. And now, when you tuck your children into bed, when you fold their socks and put them in the drawer, when you say, I love you, those words and actions carry a sacred weight. That is all the strength you have. And it is more than enough. Life does not promise there will be no more storms, but you know that whatever happens, you will no longer be afraid, because you have walked through the valley of the shadow of death and found your way back to the light, carrying in your heart a simple but eternal truth. Happiness is not a destination, but a journey. And the most beautiful journey is the one taken with the people you love through every ordinary moment of life. This is your time, the time to live. If you found this story helpful, please like and subscribe to Porchlight Diaries or Family Stories so I can keep sharing. Comment where you're watching from and which part touched your heart. Maybe it'll send a little hope to someone who needs it today. Thank you for listening with such kindness.